Hi, I'm João Lima, editor of The Economy, and here with me I've got Ayotunde Coker, Managing Director of RAC Center. Ayotunde, thanks a lot for talking to me. So, the African market, huge beast, a sleeping beast, as some people call it. 1.2 billion people living in Africa. There's an emerging market somewhere out there. What are the main drivers of the data center market in Africa today?
Well, I'll give you one statistic. In 2015, The Economist noted that there are more smartphones being shipped to Africa than normal feature phones. So that gives one indication of what's going on in Africa. Africa's got a very young population. The median age ranges from 18 to 22, depending on which country, perhaps even 16 in some cases. So that's an emerging young population that either could be a demographic time bomb or demographic dividend, I guess. But what would actually turn that into a demographic dividend is the changes you've seen in democracy going in Africa, the changes in technology, penetration of mobile technology, and increasing penetration of broadband. It's shown in Africa that where the broadband goes, the consumption of content goes of different forms. And when you have those things come together, you need data center capacity to drive the technology that supports it. So there's this chain of events going on here. You also find that a lot of economies in Africa are diversifying from dependence on commodity to other areas of consumption and of foreign exchange and earnings. These fundamentals will come together to actually show, to be the drivers of strategic change in Africa.
And then it's interesting that you mentioned the political situation and also the younger generation. I'll go there in a second. But on the political side, we usually hear news that things are not very stable in a lot of African countries. That's why a lot of these players from Europe, US, don't usually go to Africa. How have things changed? What would you say to companies that want to invest in Africa that look, things are actually not that bad? Can you, for example, use some private equity investments over the last few months to justify it?
Is there an African narrative? There are also identified places in Europe that have had to change. If you look at some of the emerging Eastern European countries, Greece, and so on. What the reality is you need to understand the market you're in, and not one approach fits all. But we always have to understand that the approach actually has to be underpinned by certain common international minima of how you operate, ethics, integrity, and so on. But wherever you are, you have to understand the local dynamics of the economy. Trying to engage someone in Aberdeen might be absolutely different to trying to engage someone in the West Country. So we do that here in the UK. Why wouldn't you do that in Africa? So even in the same countries in Africa, you have to think about the different environments you're in, the different peoples you have to deal with in that country and act appropriately. Of course, Africa is changing. Africa rising, I think it's still Africa rising. I've lived through 3 or 4 recessions being in the UK. There's just one I've seen, and people have to get to understand that recession sometimes is a way of life and how you adjust. So we can't say, just Africa, it won't be, it's a terrible place to be. Of course, you get governance issues, and of course you have to address those governance issues. But just like many emerging countries in the world, you have these issues that you have to deal with. There's something I find about many countries and many places. If you haven't been there to experience it yourself, the general narrative you get, it does not necessarily mean it's the accurate one. Nigeria is an example. People come over there and they say, I really can't believe it. It's got one of the best skylines in Africa. When I actually look at it, I've been to different countries in Africa, Morocco, Egypt, Kenya, Johannesburg, Cape Town. So you have to really investigate the place. Of course, you also have to put it in the context of the business you're operating, and so on, just like you do in any other place.
So do you think there's some sort of lack of education on global enterprises to understand what Africa means? Or maybe a lack of resources out there, like studies, reports, even books to explain what's going on? How we can operate there?
It's Kind of yes, no, because if you do your research, you get the real insight into Africa. I'm not saying it's an enchanting place. It's really a place where there are many challenges. Of course, there are many challenges, but then everywhere, you've got to take challenges as opportunities for change, opportunities for bringing new thinking, opportunities for new business, growth areas, and so on. So you've got to be believing your research to the research as you see it. You tend to find that globally successful companies will probably do well because the companies understand that you have to understand the context you're operating, the place you're operating, the cultures you're operating, and take that into account in making your decisions, and also how you operate as well.
And then, for example, looking at Nigeria, what's the data center market in Nigeria like, and what would you tell other companies coming to Nigeria? Be like, look, this is how it works. So some sort of advice to companies wanting to invest.
The data center market is still in its relative infancy. We've been working, our rack center, we've been live for about 40 months now, just over 40 months. And we've been unlocking the addressable market. There's an addressable market there that's existing that we're unlocking.
So you're still trying to figure out who's out there?
Creating awareness. Why would you build a data center? Nigerians can be used to building everything themselves. They only want to supply to their own generator for their own electricity. To a variety of things, and banks and other places might want to do it yourself for data centers. But I think the message is getting through, and we're starting to see that shift. And it's also a huge market for cloud services. There's a significant amount of patronage of international cloud services that actually you'd have to pay foreign exchange for. The population in Nigeria is such that if you had local cloud services, and I think actually for international cloud providers, they should look at that place in a different light, because delivering, we talked a lot about edge data centers, delivering content where the consumption is going to be for 190 million people. There's a significant marketplace for localized cloud services. In Rack Center, we've got a brand we call Cloud on Ground. It's a heterogeneous marketplace, cloud neutral, vendor neutral environment for delivering cloud services from international providers, from local homegrown providers, driving the need for spending foreign exchange back into Nigeria and spending the local currency, because there's a significant pent-up demand locally for locally delivered cloud services.
But then, for picking up on the idea of the need for cloud services, and then also on the idea of the youth. So Africa has one of the youngest generations in any continent in the world, and then Nigeria again, a lot of young people. How fast do you think we're going to see Africa and Nigeria changing because of the young generation? Because youngsters will drive the need for cloud with all the mobile stuff.
Yeah, right now you've got lots of young people, you've got technology parks, you've got lots of innovation going on, ideas being developed, idea hubs, co-creation centers, and so on, startups. Africa is just about to, certainly I can talk about Nigeria, for want of a better term, go ballistic on technology is about 12.8% ICT, ICT, telecoms is a significant amount of that, 9% of GDP. I wouldn't be surprised to see that growing to 18%. Broadband penetration is 15% or thereabouts. The government is creating an environment to drive it up to about 30%. And
what does that environment look like? What sort of policies are they bringing in place?
The government is open for progressive policies and sees IT as a great enabler for the economy going forward. It's a great drive for diversifying the economy from oil. You see, the Nigerian economy is quite diversified actually. When you look at the input side, agriculture is about over 30% of GDP. Oil and gas is less than 10% of GDP, more like 8 or 9, but it's a significant earner of foreign exchange. So we've got to diversify dependence on imports. So you're seeing refineries being built in the country right now. Nigeria produces oil refines currently about 10% or something of what it consumes. The mega refineries coming in will not just refine in the next 18 months what Nigeria needs, but we'll be exporting refined products. Now that's value add. That reduces the amount of foreign exchange spent. You have agriculture. We now need to make sure that the quality of products and the value chain, agricultural value chain, actually does not just meet local demand, but substitutes imports, but also creates exports. From the RAC Center point of view, we intend to export technology capability out of Nigeria. We're the most connected data center in West Africa. We're connected to every single country on the South Atlantic coast of Africa. We're an established piece of infrastructure that is able to host cloud services, provide colocation capability to all of those countries. We're sort of halfway through the top of Africa and South Africa, so you've got a good point of relatively low latency delivery of services to everyone. So we'd therefore be exporting IT services to other countries. So there's a lot that technology has to do with diversifying the economy, the efficiency of the economy. You see, if we're not efficient as an economy, we're not cost effective when we export. And the agricultural value chain, for instance, has a significant amount of technology embedded in it for payment of farmers, for taking away actually leakages in the entire system. And that's working, making sure that the right level of fertilizer gets the right amount paid for it, it gets to the right farmer, it gets tracked. So these are areas and examples of how technology actually will transform a country like Nigeria. And you've seen that. If you look at Kenya as well, with what they're doing with mobile payments. I'll give you an example. In Nigeria, you're seeing a change now. Banks really seeing the benefit of non-interest income through fintech. Fintech is a huge thing in Africa. Mobile technology to deliver banking services to the masses, getting financial inclusion and penetration in financial services. Now the banks now seeing that their non-interest income streams are a significant part of the balance sheet. There's quite a few examples of how you see technology transforming Africa. What underpins all of that? The data center. The country coming out of a recession in 2016 and 2017 needs to be efficient. Exactly. Companies do not have capital to invest in. A bank could spend $4, $5, $6, $10 million on building a data center, and then find out it's actually not built the data center the same standard we would deliver as a RAC center, for instance. There you go. We deliver those services. It doesn't take you 12, 24 months of diverting bank resources, tier one capital, of money and people. We can typically get a bank live within 4 weeks.
So, for example, you have one data center at the moment.
Yes.
Are you planning to build out more infrastructure?
We're looking at the options. Yes, we have for
build out
infrastructure. Yes, in different locations. Where we are right now, we can still expand tenfold. Okay, from around about 255 committed racks that we have. Very, very quickly, we'll be expanding that to around about 590 racks. But we can go up to 3,000 racks at the same location, around about 20,000 meters squared of space to build out to an 8.5, about 9-10 megawatts of IT.
And how full are you at the moment? What's the...
We're modular, so we're filling up quickly, actually, to the point where we're going to trigger the next doubling of capacity probably in the next 3 to 6 months. So we're seeing that growth trajectory, but we're also very much open to the opportunities that we see. Another footprint elsewhere in Nigeria, another footprint elsewhere in West Africa. Those are options we're looking at.
Thanks a lot for talking to me today. Don't forget you can follow Data Economy on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus as well as LinkedIn. Thank you, and see you next time.
Yes, thank you very much.